problem solving skills. And I think most of us would agree that child A has more opportunities for mental development.
I see what you mean, and I agree, because child A, they experiences different kinds of learning instead of depending only on digital media. This balanced approach allows the children to develop academic knowledge, social skills, creativity, and physical health while enjoying both digital and real-life learning experiences.
Okay, now let's discuss about physical development. Young children naturally need movements such as running, jumping, and climbing. These activities actually help strengthen muscles, improve balance and coordination, and support healthy growth. Unfortunately, excessive screen time usually makes children sit for long periods. This is called a sedentary lifestyle. Research has linked excessive sedentary behavior with increased risk of childhood obesity, poor posture, and eye strain. Children who spend too much time using digital devices are also less likely to achieve the recommended amount of daily physical activity and play. If adults rely too heavily on screens to occupy children, these interactions may decrease.
Miss Alimi, I often see young children using tablets while eating meals. Could that become a problem?
Yes, when children eat while watching screens, they often pay less attention to feelings of hunger and fullness. As a result, they may overeat without realizing it. Over time, this habit may increase the risk of unhealthy weight gain. Another important issue is sleep. Many children use tablets before bedtime. The blue light emitted from digital screens and interfere with melatonin production. As a result, children may sleep late and feel tired during the day.
So that means even educational videos should not be watched just before bedtime. Although they are useful for learning, screen time exposure before sleep can make it harder for children to relax and fall asleep. Therefore, limiting screen time before bed is very important for maintaining healthy sleep habits.
That is true. Timing is just as important as duration. The third developmental risk is language development. Personally, I think this is one of the most important issues. Children learn language through conversation. For example, this back and forth interaction help children learn vocabulary, grammar, and communication skills. However, watching videos is usually a one-way communication process. The screen talks, the child listens, there is very little meaningful interaction. Just imagine a 2-year-old watching cartoons for 3 hours. During those 3 hours, how many meaningful conversations happen? Probably very few. Now, let's imagine the same child spending 3 hours for reading books, singing books, talking with parents. Which environment provides richer language learning?
Definitely the second one. Children learn language from interacting with people, not simply hearing the words. Face-to-face communication allows them to ask questions, receive feedback, and practice speaking, making language learning more meaningful and effective.
You are right, Professor, especially because communication requires both speaking and listening. A screen cannot respond naturally like a parent or a teacher. Face-to-face interactions provide meaningful conversation that help children develop better language skills, confidence, and stronger social connections.
Before I finish, I'd like to ask both of you one final question. Do you think educational apps are completely harmful?
No, I think educational apps can support learning if adults guide children and limit screen time.
I agree with you. However, I also think the quality of content and parental involvement are more important than simply limiting
version and age-appropriate content, technology can support learning, enhance creativity, improve digital literacy, and prepare children for the future.
I agree. However, the key issue is not whether children should use screens, but how and how much they use them. Screen time should be purposeful, age-appropriate, and balanced with activities like physical play, social interactions, and hands-on learning. With clear boundaries, parents and educators can help children develop healthy digital habits that support their learning and well-being.
That's a good point. Let me start with the first ethical issue: children privacy and data collection. Many educational apps for young children collect data such as usage pattern, device information, and learning progress. The problem is that children under 5 cannot understand privacy or give informed consent. According to UNICEF, children need special protection online because they are highly vulnerable. For example, apps like YouTube Kids and ABC Mouse still collect viewing history and user behavior. Privacy can be exposed when apps request permission like location or microphone access, or when third-party trackers collect data in the background. The issue is that parents often focus on whether the app is educational but overlook how data is collected and used. This relates to data privacy literacy, where parents need to understand digital data practices. Therefore, parents should pay attention to privacy setting and app permission to protect children online safety.
I agree with Ms. Shaza. I also think the problem is that most parents are not fully aware of how much data is actually being collected even right now. Even when they read the privacy policies, it is often too long and difficult to understand. So they just accept it without real understanding.
Yes, and I would like to add that developers also have a big responsibility here. They should design this app with stronger default privacy settings for children instead of expecting parents to figure everything out. So, without proper safeguards built into the system, it becomes very hard for parents to fully protect their children.
Exactly. This means ethical responsibility should not fall only on parents. Technology companies, schools, and policymakers must also ensure that children's rights are protected. The second ethical concern is whether screen-based learning is replacing important human interaction. According to Vygotsky's social development theory, children learn best through social interaction within the zone of proximal development, where learning occurs through guidance, dialogues, and scaffolding provided by more knowledgeable individuals. However, the screen-based learning replaces meaningful interaction with adults and peers. The scaffolding processes becomes limited. It is because young children learn through conversation, eye contact, facial expression, touch, and play. If adults rely too heavily on screens to occupy children, this interaction may decrease. For instance, some parents give a tablet to a child during meals or while they are busy working. Although this may make daily routine easier, the child loses opportunities to communication and social learning. Personally, I don't think it is ethical to use screens as a substitute for meaningful adult-child interaction. Ms. Ayuni, do you think screen can ever replace a teacher or parent for children under 5?
No, I don't think so. A screen can provide information, but it cannot respond emotionally like a parent or teacher. While technology can support learning, it cannot replace the guidance, encouragement, and emotional connection that
issue is digital inequality. Children who do not have access to devices, stable internet, or paid learning platform may be placed at disadvantages compared to others. This creates a gap in learning opportunities from an early age. For example, a child with a personal tablet and internet at home can easily practice learning apps daily, while another child might only rely on limited school resources. Over time, this difference can affect their learning progress and participation in classroom activity that assume prior digital exposure. It is also raises ethical concern because digital learning is becoming more common in schools, but not all children start from the same level of access. Dr. Liana, did you know how might this affect children?
I agree with that, but I also think that digital inequality doesn't only affect access to devices, but also the learning environment at home. Some children may have parents who can guide them to use technology, while others may not, which makes the gap even bigger.
Yes, and I would add this can create a long-term impact on education. If children are exposed to digital tools early at home, they may adapt faster in school, while others may feel left behind even if they are equally intelligent. This shows how unequal access can influence learning confidence and performance.
Exactly. So, ethical discussion about technology must also include fairness and equal opportunity. Before we move to social emotional risk, recommendation and conclusion, I would like to ask one final question. If screen-based learning is monitored carefully, can it still be beneficial for young children?
Yes, I think it can. For example, interactive storybooks or language learning apps may support children's learning when used for short periods. They make learning more interesting and enjoyable while helping children improve their language, reading, and listening skills through interactive activities.
That's true, but only if adults are involved. Otherwise, children may simply consume content passively instead of actively learning from it. With the support from parents or teachers, children can better understand the content, stay focused, and use digital tools in a more effective and educational way.
Now, let us move to the next part of our discussion. I would like to invite Dr. Liana to continue by discussing the social emotional risk and recommendation for parents, teachers, and policymakers.
Thank you, Professor Shaza. You have clearly explained the cognitive, physical, and language skills. Please, Thank you, Professor Shaza. You have clearly explained the cognitive, physical, and language risks. Now, I will continue the social emotional developmental risk and move to recommendation and conclusion. Before I begin, I want to ask both of you, do you think children under 5 can develop strong emotional skills just by using digital learning tools?
I don't think so. Emotional skills need real interaction with people.
Yes, because emotions like empathy and passion are learned through real-life experiences.
Exactly. That leads to my first point. Based on Bandura social learning theory, children learn behaviors through observation, imitation, and reinforcement. However, screen-based learning reduces these life social cues. For example, when a child watches videos or uses app alone, they do not experience the taking in conversation, understanding others' feeling in real time, and emotional feedback. According to recent early childhood research, excessive screen exposure is associated with weaker social interaction skills and reduced emotional regulation in preschool children. Imagine a child who spends most of their time with a tablet. When they enter enter preschool, they may struggle to share toys, find it difficult to wait for their turn, and may prefer isolation instead of a group play.
That is true. I have also seen children who get frustrated easily when they are not given immediate responses like in digital games. This can affect their patience and emotional control as real-life learning and communication often require more time and effort compared to digital experiences.
Yes, Professor, because digital apps often give instant reward, while real life requires patience and negotiation. Another issue is emotional regulation. Some children use screens to cope with boredom, sadness, or anger. Over time, this may lead to dependency on device comfort, difficulty managing emotion without screens, and tantrums when devices are taken away. This is sometimes called digital dependency behavior in early childhood literature.
So, you are saying screens can become a comfort for children?
Yes, exactly. And while comfort is not bad, the problem is when children cannot self-soothe without devices. Now, I will move to recommendation for parents, teachers, and policymakers. Recommendation number 1 is screen time limitation. For children under 5, screen time should be used limited, supervised, and age appropriate. According to the World Health Organization (WHO), they recommend that children aged 2 to 5 should have no more than 1 hour of sedentary screen time per day, and less is better. Recommendation number 2 is co-viewing or co-engagement. Instead of letting children use screens alone, adults should watch together, explain content, ask questions, and connect digital content to real life. For example, if a child watches an animal video, parents should ask questions like, what does the cat make sound like? So children will respond and interact. This transforms passive viewing into active learning. My last recommendation is play-based learning priority. Children under 5 should use primarily learn through, which is physical play, storytelling, role-playing, outdoor activities, and hands-on exploration. Research in early childhood education consistently shows that play-based learning supports cognitive, social, and emotional development more effectively than passive screen use.
I agree. Play is not just fun, it is actually learning. It helps children develop social, emotional, and cognitive skills while exploring, interacting, and understanding their environment in a meaningful way.
Yes, and it also helps children to develop creativity and problem-solving skills.
Now, I would like to address a possible counter-argument. Some people say that digital learning prepares children for a technology-driven future. I somehow agree with this idea to some extent. However, the problem is timing. Children under 5 are in a very critical stage of development where they need real-world interaction, sensory exploration, emotional bonding, and physical movement. Introducing too much screen-based at this stage may disrupt these conditions.
So, you are not rejecting technology completely?
No, we are suggesting balanced integration. Technology should support learning, not dominate it. While digital tools can make learning more interactive and engaging, they should not completely replace traditional learning methods or human interactions in the classroom. A balanced approach ensures that all children, regardless of their access at home, still receive equal learning opportunities in school. In this way, teachers can combine both digital and non-digital activities so that students are not fully dependent on technology and and those with limited access are not left behind.
I think we cannot form a conclusion together. Do you all agree on a balanced approach?
Yes, but only with limited and guided use. Technology should be used in moderation and with adult supervision so children can benefit from it safely. This helps them enjoy digital learning while maintaining a healthy balance with play, social interaction, and other real-life activities.
Agree. A balanced approach allows children to benefit from technology while still developing essential skills through real-life experiences. With proper guidance, they can use digital tools in a healthy and meaningful way without becoming overly dependent on them. So, to conclude our discussion, we agree that screen-based learning for children under 5 has both potential benefits and serious risks. Ethically, it raises concern about privacy and data protection, fairness and digital inequality, and reduce human interaction. Developmentally, it may affect attention span and brain development, physical health and activity levels, language acquisition, and social emotional skills. Therefore, we conclude that screen-based learning should not replace real-life learning experiences. It should only be used in limited, supervised, and purposeful ways that support, not replace early childhood development.
So, we strongly believe that early childhood development must prioritize human interaction and play.
Technology should be used as a supportive tool. It should complement, not replace, traditional learning and real-life interaction. When used appropriately, it can enhance learning while allowing children to develop important social, emotional, and practical skills through hands-on experiences.
Thank you everyone. That concludes our discussion. We have explored different perspectives on the role of technology in children's learning and development. I hope parents, teachers, and society will continue working together to ensure technology is used wisely to support learning while maintaining opportunities for play, interaction, and holistic development.